Hey folks, it's Tuesday night, and yes, it's time for more development. Now, we are just waiting on this graph to get updated to basically the 30-minute mark, okay? Because I've implemented new equations, and hopefully, if this works, it should work for the hours, days, and all time. Okay, so in the meantime, if there's anybody in the chat and they want me to look at anything in particular or give an explanation of anything in particular, then please don't hesitate to ask. We've got 5 minutes to kill, basically. I mean, what we could do is we could create another supply line. Yeah, why not do that, eh? So we can build our refinery, etc. And finally our fabricator. And then we are out of everything, so we can create a storage unit. And we'll do it there. So we can basically work on this. We can create our thing again, this again. We can spin these around, even though it doesn't matter, it's just kind of the way I've been doing it. Kind of makes sense. So we can join these up again. This is going to give us a second amount of output. So we should see a change in our graphs when we do this. And finally, there we go. Then we can add some guys in. And we should start getting some output. Okay. So let's take a look at this. We've mined 1644. Mineral available is 1599, 1597. So that's going down at quite the rate. And we can check our graph. You can see our values beginning to go up as we begin to process different products. So this is beginning to go up, and finally our widgets should start going up. Okay, so at the moment you can see that our two earlier products are beginning to go up nicely, and now our widgets are going up, and hopefully our iron sheet should start going up. And there it goes, although it's still kinda lower, but it's going up now. We're up to 6. And we should expect it to go up to, well, fluctuate basically. let's take a look at the minute graph. And we're nearly at the end. So we shall see from this particular graph what we get. And you can see these ones beginning to go up. And these ones should start moving back the way, if it's correct. But it looks like, well, we're going to have to wait a minute or two to check if this is actually working properly. Right, so we can have a think about what we're going to do next as far as the development goes. Okay, so we have a few topics that we can cover. We can go for some enemy AI. We can go for some, related to that is obviously going to be our defenses AI. And the movement thereof. Okay. Now I'm just leaving that there because I want to see if that higher value moves to the left, which it does. So that seems to be working well. Okay. So we can start looking at enemy AI. We can start, or we can go the research tree route, or we can go the more materials or more products route to then take advantage of that, or we can take a look at, yeah, we can take a look at the different products route. Okay, which would also work. So we've got these different possibilities. But our graphs, this graph seems to be working well. Okay, I need to do it to the end, but it does seem to work pretty good. Okay. So we can check that our widgets are still working. We can still switch them on and off. We can still do all that stuff. Which we can. And we're at the 6-minute mark about here. This is good. It's moving along. It's taking the ones at the end off. So we are happy with that. I'm going to look at the rest of that offline. We're going to do 31. We're going to take off this print string. We are going to move this down here, right? Then we're going to join our loop back up to here, and we basically have another loop which is printing stuff out. Now I believe it could be here, except it's not. So I believe it might be here, but it's not. Right, so we can disable that breakpoint for now. So I'm guessing, now I'm surprised at that. And there is a print string somewhere that is giving me extra data out, which I asked for earlier, but we don't want it to print that out anymore. Okay, so I don't know where that is, but we'll leave it there for now. And I'm not 100% sure what to do. Is there anyone in the stream that's got an idea what they want to see? Whether they want to see some widget stuff, or AI stuff, or some other stuff, let me know. Research tree stuff, we're going to have to do that. So, in the meantime, we're going to return minute data, and this part here, we copy that, and in return our data, we paste it in here, except we divide this by 3600, which is, we're getting the hour value, right? And we basically say is less than 6. Actually 7, because our graph goes up to 7, and then basically we say and boolean, then we plug that in there, and we plug that into there, and that gives us our thing. Now, what we want to do, right, that's okay. So that should be our hour data, and we're also going to have day data, which is going to look exactly the same, except we're going to be looking at days. So that's minute data, that's hour data. So if we copy and paste this, as I've said before, we could amalgamate this and consolidate it, but for the moment, we can basically say this is day data, and it goes to the right here, And actually we need to do this one, so we move that to here. Okay, and this value here is going to be 3600 multiplied by 60. So let me just show you that on a calculator. Okay, the calculator's on the other side, other screen, sorry. So we do that, multiply it, and it's 216,000. $216,000. Now let me just check that. Is that the number of seconds in a day? Apparently, I don't know where I get. Oh, it's 24. I multiplied it by 60 instead of 24. What an idiot. Right, but this number is that. Okay, it's not that. It's 86,400. And this should be days. Okay. And yes, we need to do this again, which is fantastic. So we need temp, time, index, and we set it. It's going to be 2. Actually, you know what? That's not going to be 2. But we'll work it out. Okay, so we're setting it again here. And 2. Delete that. Put that in there. Drag that in and that to there. And I think what we'll do is we'll drag that to 1. We'll change this to 1. Then we do a get and delete that, place it underneath, and then we do another get, plug it in there and delete that one and save that, and there we go. So as I said, guys, if you guys have got anything that you want me to look at, or you're learning Unreal Engine and want some advice on something or want to know how to do something, let me know and I'll do my best to help you out. Okay, so what we're going to have to do now is, or what I want to do is, I'm going to show you a bit of dynamic materials, okay? Because at the moment we've just been doing stuff with bauxite, okay? But we're going to have to come to the point where we test out other stuff, which is going to be the likes of copper and all that stuff, right? Now, but at the moment our minerals are basically only passing out bauxite, as you can see here. Okay. Now, if it's true, we go to... So now we're going to generate two different possible minerals, okay? Up until now, we had it set at bauxite, so we knew exactly what we were going to do. So that was that. Now, it's already set actually. So what we're actually going to do here, right, is we have a material, right? That's the mesh. And this is our material. So what we could do here is we could turn this into a parameter. Okay? So we can say color. Okay? Let's just save that. Right, so that's the wrong thing. What we actually want is a vector 3D. A vector parameter. Okay? And that is going to go into our base color. Okay? Now, what we should have done with this emissive is actually made it white, right? But it's going to give us an effect, a different kind of effect, right? Which is kind of what we want. So we could call this base color. Okay? And we can set this to, let's say, our standard blue. But then what we're going to do is we're going to create a material instance. Okay, and in here we're going to create a mat instance, and that's going to be, I'm pretty sure, let's see if I can remember how to do this. It's a material instance dynamic. Okay. So we get that. And we set this to the instance, and actually we set this okay. So that doesn't work. So I'll tell you what we'll do. I'm trying to think of something else where I've done this already, and I can't quite remember off the top of my head right now. Because the arrows are post-process effects, so that's not going to give us it. What's using the dynamic material? There are definitely things that are. I'll tell you what is, research is. Even though it wasn't quite working, but that's for a different reason. Right, so if we go into our research, as I said, I can't quite remember off the top of my head. Right, so you'll notice this is a green arrow, and it's a material instance dynamic, so that's right. Okay. So it must be set here. It's applying from create dynamic material instance. Okay, so basically what we do is we copy this. So we had done it right, but we just hadn't created this. Okay, so if we go to here, we do set this, right? But we need the create dynamic material instance, and this is going to come from the crystals instance, and that is going to go in there. Okay, so we can do this at the start. Okay. Now, just for a laugh, we can test this out. Right? So when we create the mineral, where is that? Okay. Right, that's weird. Okay, so it's here. Right, so then we say material, get material instance. Right, and we'll just do this for a laugh. This is going to be set scalar parameter. It's not going to be a scalar parameter. It's vector. So it's set vector parameter. And I believe this was base color. Let's just check that out in the material instance. Alright. It's just color. Okay, so it's just color. Okay. That's the research station. So I don't know why I'm looking at that, but anyway. So it's just color. And for this one, we'll do that. And these would obviously all be set to a certain colour. Now, this isn't going to be the final thing, but once we actually make the final thing, we can apply the same logic, and we're going to make this, yeah, kind of that colour, because that's going to be copper. Okay. So let's try it and see if it works. So all we need to do is create a probe, and do another probe, okay. Did a bit of work on this last night and it is working. Now, these can be these can be whatever color, right? But the thing we need to know is if it's ever going in here. Okay. Now it is plausible that we've not got a copper yet. Okay. And now we do. And this color is not doing anything really. So let's sort that out, shall we? Or let's hopefully sort it out, would be a better way of putting it. Okay, so where is our instance? And where is our material there? That is called base color. So why does this say color? That's weird. So that's his base color. But yeah, that's updated now. Okay, so that might be the issue. And now if we go back in here and here, this actually has to be called base color. Right, that was weird. It was as if the base material and the material instance had got out of sync. So we can try that again, excuse me, and see if that makes a difference. I'm going to say it probably should. Don't know how much of a difference it's going to make, but it should make some difference. Now, it has done the copper thing. Which hasn't made a hell of a difference. Right? It has not made a hell of a difference at all. Now let's have a look at the research station. We set material. Right, so that was a bit of a goofball. Okay. So we come to our mesh and we set material, and it's basically this one here. It's always easy to overlook something when you're coming back to it and not quite remember exactly the steps. So you need to go to a reference in something that you've already done. Understandable. Right. So there's a rocket launcher, and now we can do our probey thing. And I'm guessing it isn't allowing me to do it because there's already drones on the map. Don't quote me on that. Right, and I completely forgot to actually look at the... Yeah, notice the difference now. Right. Now, what I think we want here, and I'm just playing around and letting you see some things and the way I would do things, right? But in the material instance, no, sorry, in the actual material, if I'm wondering if we just take the emissive or the alpha, and I can't remember how you do this, right? I'm thinking it might be, right, that we might want to look at this emissive, and then we can view so if we just take the green, okay, if we just take the green, that's going to give us the correct thing for our emissive. So if we go like that, hopefully right, this is going to apply, and there you go. right? So I've got a mosquito flying about right in front of me. So that might still not quite be right. It's going to be weird, I'm guessing. Because it looks like the missive is white. So what we could do is we could multiply. Okay, we're going to do a multiply. We'll try this out. I'm not brilliant, by the way, at materials, so usually this is a bit of a hit and a miss. I usually get there in the end, but it's luck more than judgment, usually. Yeah, that's more like it. As I said, it's more luck than judgment, but we should be able to see some nice colours now. Right. So we've got a nice blue one, which is great. And that's a blue one, which is great. We really want a purple one. Sorry, not a purple one. We really want like a copper coloured one. There we go. So we can now tell the type of material it is. Right? Which is good. So I think what we'll do, in the case of our final miner, and I just caught that mosquito, is we shall have some sort of a identifier, right, on the actual model. So that you can see what the miner is. I mean, you can click on it and that's going to tell you it's copper ore, right? But it'd be nice to have some sort of like visual indicator on the miner itself so that you don't actually need to see what's going on there. So that's a nice little thing that we can see. And once again, there's our purple one. Sorry, not purple, what am I talking about? It's copper. Okay, so we know that one's copper, we know this one's bauxite. And so at least we've got a visual representation. And let's see, yep, we can delete that. We can remove that. Now the funny thing is these flags are still here. Right? And believe it or not, those flags are still actually kind of important. even though they're in the ground. Right, so what is this error here? Workers. Interesting. Okay, I'm going to go with the fact that's erroring because it's a save game, okay? I'm not going to worry too much about that right now. Oh yeah. Right, okay, okay. I understand that. What was happening there is because I was hovering over it, it was trying to show the widget, and then when I delete it, it basically throws a wobbly. Right, so I can tell you how I can fix it right now. What I can basically do, and it doesn't have a reference. Okay. So we're casting it to the minor. Right. Controller. And then I can say game mode. Right. Then I can drag this in here, down to here. Then I can say not equal to remove. Then we can branch on that. And I may have to do this for every building type. Okay, but that is the correct code for that. And what I can do is align this up properly to the right, and that keeps everything nice and tidy. And on that, guys, I'm gonna go grab a cigarette. So if you're enjoying the stream, hit the like and subscribe. Check out the description for Discord and Patreon and all that stuff. Previous game on Steam. And I shall be right back in a moment or two. Don't go anywhere. Okay guys, we're back. And it's been a pretty quiet night on YouTube. But we're not going to complain. Tuesday is always a quiet night. So we won't worry. But we now have that working. Okay, so what's a fun thing we can do? I'm feeling pretty bad about this because I want you guys to see the fun stuff as well. Right? So, because it's a quiet night, there's not a lot of people in the chat or watching the stream, so it would seem pretty unthoughtful if I was to work on something completely different and interesting at this point. So, with that in mind, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to our graphs and I'm going to go back to our stats graph, right? And I'm going to go to our designer and we are going to basically add in the fact that we have all our stuff ready to add the player settings. Okay, so with that in mind, let's have a look at our building details and then basically copy the stuff that we've already got. So we have our text warehouse, right? We want to know where it is. Okay, so it's there, it's on the very bottom. Okay, so we're going to put that, and then we are going to add the colors. Okay, so in the building details we've got set up display colors, so we're going to do a similar thing. Okay, so in here we're going to not do that. Right, so that was wrong. What we're going to do is we're going to create a function set up display colors. Okay, and we're going to go into here and check out the setup display colors, and we're basically going to copy these that's okay, and we're going to go into here and paste it. Then we're not going to do this one. We are going to do that one because we should have a button close. Yep, we do, and we do have a blur. So everything else can kind of stay. Right, but we are going to have to do our text Okay, and that was in this canvas panel here. Okay, so we're going to have to do a text in here. And we're going to select it. And we're going to say graphs. Then we're going to get our font. And we're going to check what this one is, because I think this isn't Simplifica. Right? So it's 40 and it's Futura. So we get our Futura, we stick it to 40. We're going to default it the color, even though it's going to change. And we'll check this one again. And it's if I copy that and then put it in here, right, and then we're going to rotate it 270. Okay, and this one has size X, size Y, and it's size to content. Okay, so we're going to size this one to content as well, and there we go. Right, but what we want to do is we want to bring it down here, and then we want to get it in line with here, right? So that's like the baseline, like right there, and then we can drag this back up. Now, should we really put graphs in there, or should we put production? I would say we probably want production in there. Right? Now, in here it's called text building name. But in this case, we don't want to do that. But it is going to be a variable. And it is going to be text production. Okay. And then in our graph, we're going to do set text color. Okay. And we're going to plug our controller in here. And we're going to plug our text production in here. And we're going to save that. Then we're going to change our options, right? And we're going to go to game colors. And we're going to change our title color to red. Okay. And then we're going to continue. And then we're going to print our graph. We're going to show a graph. Now that production is blue because it is drilling down. You will notice, damn, shouldn't have done that. What I need to do is I need to go into here and I can't remember where I do this. That should be right, but when I do the recursive stuff, it shouldn't be. Right, let's check our options, check our game colors. So we've got that, which is right. Okay. So we continue, and if we select like the minor, it's not doing it for some reason. Right, this is all a bit bizarre. This is no longer working. I'm thinking here, is this once again a saving problem? Yeah, it probably is. Okay, let's try options, game colors, that, back, okay, new game, we'll call it color, save, okay, and now when we do this and we create a minor, let's see what we get, shall we? Yeah, the colour's there now. Okay, so that was a saving issue as well. Now, that's not quite true for this because this is doing the recursive stuff. And it's basically trying to find out what colour it is, or what colour it should be, but we're going to have to check. Yeah, okay. So that should actually be info screen title. So that was the goofball measure there. So if we continue and we do a graph, oopsie. So what we should do is add a breakpoint here. and I'm not calling this setup display, so there's no wonder it's not working. Right. Event graph. So when we event construct, we need the controller. So we set up display colors. Oops. And that should be us done. Right, so if we hit graph and resume that, there you go. Okay. So our refinery, and we can set up the probe, and now we should have the correct colors for our different items. So hit graph, and that's working okay. Resume, we get the graph, which is okay. So we can come out of here, and if we run it again, we can go to options, game colors, and we can change this to, let's say, a green. Save that, continue, and there we go. So that is all great. And with that, guys, it's a quiet night. I'm going to take advantage by ending the stream early. So if you've joined me and enjoyed it, thanks very much for coming along. Hit the subscribe button if you watch content later and enjoy it, and check out the description for my Discord and Patreon and previous game on Steam. Thanks very much, and have a good night, everyone.